would you be okay taking up a larger role in the state, maybe the CM seat?
No, every politician wants to move up in the ladder. Yeah, so will I. And let us see what destiny has written for me. But who will lead the party? Who will lead the people? Who will lead the state? I think it is only the time that will decide. Well, why should I support DMK? Certain parties survived
Hmm.
on this entire campaign of resisting the national language. You know who am I'm talking about. And DMK also, unfortunately, today is eyeing the 2026 election and talking about triple language policy. If you think that it is imposing, if you can arrest a Kunal Kamra, if you can file a case on Kunal Kamra, you should be able to file a case on Bandi Sanjay as well. So in that sense, I don't think I'll support Munawar. Well, as I said, I don't take him seriously. Unfortunately, he's the Deputy Chief Minister of the neighboring state, Mr. Pawan Kalyan's statement, because I don't think he's a serious politician. Unfortunately, he became the Deputy CM, but I don't think he's a serious politician. Now, Mr. Pawan Kalyan should answer, if the Home Ministry was held by Mr. Lokesh, would he have made that statement? Just because a woman was holding that statement, a Dalit woman was holding that portfolio, he openly made that statement. How dare you? BRS, as any other party, as I've always said it very openly, unfortunately, like every other party in the country, has underrepresentation of women. My brother or Pawan Kalyan Garu, anybody who speaks about women and anybody who's a leader in leadership role, they should immediately apologize.
The state of Telangana is making national headlines once again. A 400-acre land parcel right next to the Hyderabad Central University has become a national flashpoint, and the plans of the government to convert it into an IT park are being questioned by political and influential parties across the country. To talk about that and much more, considering the present political scenario in the state of Telangana, joining me is former member of parliament, a member of the Legislative Council of Telangana as of now, Mr. KCR's daughter, as well as the founder of Telangana Jagruti, Ms. Kavitha Kalvakuntla. Hello, ma'am. First things first, etlunar.
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. Before getting into the crux of controversies at hand, ma'am, if I may, I would like to ask you a question which could breach a couple of personal boundaries. And I'd like you to answer that. I personally believe that conversations around hard times should be normalized across the country, and therefore I ask you this: 5.5 months that you've spent in jail. I understand the fact that the matter is sub judice and we cannot get into the nitty gritties of the case as such. But how was it personally for you? Because you've seen the highest corridors of power. So personally, how was that journey for you, and how did the family react? Anything you can tell us about that phase?
Well, first of all, thanks, Akash, for having me here. And as you rightly said, conversation should be really normalized across various challenging times that individuals experience. And of course, in my life, one of the most challenging times was the time that I spent in jail recently. And as you rightly said, not very used to living in certain conditions with a lot of zero family time, because as a mother, that was the most hurting point for me in the time that I spent in jail. Well, discomfort, not being used to hostile surroundings, etc. That apart, missing my kids was the most thing that hurt me during that time. And I did a lot of research on how women are jailed across the world, etc. So if at all God gives me an opportunity to bring in some reforms at a point of time, I think I would work on that too. Because unless and until you personally experience such kind of a trauma, you can't really feel the pain of certain section of people. That apart, having very well uh, you know um, uh, understanding the fact that it has become a political norm across the nation.
Hmm.
Most of the leaders are on bail. Most of the leaders are in cases that have never been proven or never see the end of the day, as we all would like to believe that at a point of time
No
justice has
logical
to be made.
conclusion.
No logical conclusion to most of the things. So I think as a democracy, we are heading towards a different phase, and it is not a good one. That must be said, because people like Omar Khalid, etc., major stringent sections like new laws like UPA, etc. All of these have to be, questioned and challenged. Even the stringent laws like PMLA, I myself tried to challenge. And see, law is ultimately an evolving thing. but it should not lead to any political leverage, is what all of us should work at. So, out of those challenging times, I've had multiple thoughts. On a personal front, it was really challenging. Missing my
We
kids
actually
was
saw you become a little emotional once you came out when you
Oh
spoke
yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
media.
See, it was psychosomatic. Like the
Yes.
more you are there, you're hurt, and physically also it shows, it manifests in various ways. But it's all right. I'm a very, very tough nut, so I'm happy. I'm back. I'm with my family, and I hope to stay that way.
And during the course of that entire phase, did it strengthen you much more, or did you at any point in time feel, okay, why do I get into all of this? Let me pull the plug. Did you ever get that feeling?
Well, frankly, I'll be lying if I say I never had a thought ki why am I even here? Why should I do this? Why can't I just give it all up and be like a normal human being
Mhm.
and enjoy my family time? I'll be lying if I'll say that thought did not cross my mind. But then the path I've chosen is difficult. I've known always that. And in politics, in Indian politics, it is very difficult for women. When you look at the numbers across the states, the number of chief ministers of any state, you can count them on fingers. The number of MPs, you can count them on fingers. So I knew it was a tough line for me to, make a headway in politics as a woman. I chose it. So I said, if I've chosen this path, I've come this way, I'm not going to go back.
Got
So it did make me strong in that sense.
to get to the crux of it, ma'am, but before that, to set the tone for the hour-long conversation during which we seek to address a lot of serious issues concerning Telangana and the country at large, I would like to begin with a rapid fire so that we sort of set the tone for the hour-long conversation, like I said. First question, before I get into personalities or individuals, your favorite politician across the country?
Um, Someone who's currently living, I think it's my father. I'll start with him
Mhm.
because I owe everything to him. I've learned to understand the pain. It's rapid round, so my father definitely. Uh,
If I had to say, barring him,
Barring him, right now, I think, see, there are very good leaders like Siddaramaya ji,
Mhm.
Pinarayi Vijayan ji, Mamta Banerjee, Sonia Gandhi ji. She's dignity personified.
Mhm.
So in every tough time we see, she still is like rock solid.
Now, a lot of people on social media are going to come out and attack you because you recently said they didn't pick up the Wakf bill as much as you would have liked
Oh, well,
them.
that I will criticize them on the
Got
policy,
it.
but as a person, she's amazing.
Got it.
As a person, as a women politician, she's strong. She's very dignified the way she carries herself. But yeah, her decisions I'll certainly criticize, and they should have been a part of work bill. There is no doubt about it.
Right. Your favorite politician in the Congress party?
In the Congress party, I think I like Sachin Pilot
Mhm.
very much, and of course Sonia ji is there. Siddaramaya ji, as I said, Ashok Gehlot is another very very seasoned politician. Um,
When you look at the political scenario in the country largely, ma'am, the problem is we are lacking an issue specific stance. If you
Yeah.
stick to one ideology, more often than not, the belief is everything that people who belong to that ideology do are right.
Yes.
Right? In that case, not everything that the BJP could have done could have been absolutely wrong. And Mr. Karti Chidambaram agreed with me recently when I interviewed him. So, your favorite politician in BJP, and if you wish to, also elaborate on the why.
I've always liked Sushma Swaraj ji. Well, to look at it, she did probably not make as much as difference as Jayalalitha made in people's lives
Mhm.
because she never had a chance to lead from the front or a state. That way, she couldn't make many executive decisions. But to propagate the BJP's ideology, I think she did her best. The way she spoke, the way she carried herself, etc. But right now in BJP, there are not many favorites because what they say is they do never follow. Like, for
Mhm.
example, they say no rave culture, but every state election they are giving away a lot of freebies than regional parties or Congress party does. So when you don't walk the talk, you don't really like the people
Got
who
it.
are there. But yeah, I think there are few good people. Not that Jai Panda was in BJD. He's one of the coolest guys I've known. I've seen he goddamn flies a chopper into his constituency. So he's one of the coolest politicians. But I can't say that he's my favorite because he's in BJP.
When it comes to your party, ma'am, who do you think is going to sustain the test of time and take your party forward over the next 5 years? Your favorite politician in your party?
Well, my brother certainly is a very stylish politician,
Mhm.
and there are many leaders in my party who stood the test of time. For example, Kopaleshwar is won election 6-7 times. Kopaleshwar Anagaru won. Like many leaders are there who stood the test of the time and are there with my father. My LOP Masunachari has been with father for last 25 years.
Yes.
So that way there are many leaders in the party because it is fundamentally a movement-led party. But who will lead the party? Who will lead the people? Who will lead the state? I think it is only the time that will decide.
Got it. Now I'll take names of personalities, ma'am. I request you to respond in a word or a phrase. The first thing that comes to your head, and wherever you feel you want to elaborate, please feel free to do that. The first is Mr. Revant Reddy.
He's controversy personified, I think. So,
Okay. I'll take that for an answer, Mr. Narendra Modi.
Not my favorite politician.
Got it. The Owaisi brothers.
Very chameleon-like. Go with the flow there with people, whoever is in power.
I actually have a couple of questions on that. We'll come to that at a later point.
Sure. They're with power, basically.
Got it. Mr. Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy.
Oh, I love him. He's awesome. He's faced the toughest times of his life. But I think, I like him more in opposition. The way he reacts, the way he speaks and all. He's very good fighter.
I'm not sure he'll like this.
I know. But he's like very cool when he's in opposition. The Jagan 2.0, I'm loving it.
Got it. Mr. Pawan Kalyan.
Ayyo Rama, he's like left to right, everywhere he's there, and he's made a joke out of politics, is what I feel. Very strongly feel that because N.T. Ramarao Garu, when he was an actor, he came out into politics, he stood his stand, whatever he said. Pawan Kalyan Garu came out into politics, he started with Che Guevara, now he ended up wearing the orange robes. And I don't think it is real. It is always acting, even in the public life. I don't like it.
So if you had to put one word to everything you said,
Actor in politics.
actor in politics, it's Chandrababu Naidu.
He's very seasoned. As I said, just like Sonia ji, he's also a very dignified person. He can take challenges with a lot of, grit, I feel. The way he came back from, ended up in jail and then he bounced back. Not easy. Not at all.
The next is a so-called kingmaker who seeks to be the king now, Mr. Prashant Kishore.
I think he'll always remain in the shadows. He can never become the king.
Just a few other names, ma'am, going away from
Sure.
Telugu states for a while. Mr. Annamalai.
I think he fought it out, but maybe he oversold his, ability to his party and failed. But I think he fought it out really well.
One person who your party per se has been very pally with in the last few years, Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin.
But we are not pally with Udayanidhi Stalin. We were, happy to support DMK in the sense of supporting strong regional parties, and the movement, the Dravidian movement with DMK stands for, we support that. Udayanidhi Stalin, I think, is still a leader in making.
Work in progress.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Vijay, considering the fact that everybody is now raising up this question of, is the trend of actors becoming big-time politicians coming back with his entry in Tamil Nadu? So how do you see that playing out?
It's not a new trend to begin with, but I believe, I seriously, sincerely pray that, Vijay, unlike Pawan Kalyan, will stick to whatever he believes in and not change with times. I hope he does bring some change.
One person who was very instrumental in the Telangana election, D.K. Shivkumar.
He's not instrumental. It is a myth. People say that he's done a lot. No, he isn't. It was just oversold personality. He's not done much.
So it was more PR and less execution.
Yes, less execution. No.
Got it. Nara Lokesh.
Oh, I think he's one person I've seen him evolve as a matured personality over the years. The warmth that he carries now, and the leadership ability that he's showing, and the way people bullied him. Not easy to take.
Similar to
all
what
of
Mr.
that.
Rahul Gandhi went through during election.
Absolutely, but he came back. I think, he has some steel left.
Last person, ma'am, may not be an out-and-out politician, but somebody who has been in the political crossfire lately, Allu Arjun.
I like him. I like Pushpa. Nothing else to say.
So you prefer having an opinion about him as an actor?
Yeah.
Got it.
He's a good entertainer. Very good entertainer.
I'm coming to the issue at hand, the burning flashpoint that the entire country is talking about. Opposition parties and students and environmental activists on one side and the Telangana state government on the other side, the HCU issue. To dive deep into this, ma'am, at the preliminary stage, I would request you to give me your stand on two aspects. Now, a lot of people are getting confused between the legal debate and the ethical debate, right? When it comes to the legal debate, it's about who owns the land, what has been the history of that particular land parcel. The government has come out and said that the High Court clearly in 2022 stated that the university does not have any proof to prove that these 400 acres were a part of the 2,200 odd acres allotted to the university in 1975. The second is the ethical debate, where the students and the activists are saying, irrespective of who this land belongs to, you cannot do this. You cannot convert a natural habitat of 550 flora and fauna species into an IT park. On both of these things, what is your preliminary stand before I get into the allegations being thrown at the BRS?
And I see, first of all, any university, when our forefathers or leaders gave it away, they had a plan that universities should be like a free space where kids have a lot of, they should feel that we are in a different place, a place to learn freely and understand. And HCU is that, it's proper example of having a 2,500 acre land, a very good ambience.
Very few, in fact.
Very few, in fact, in the country are left. So first of all, it is absolutely not ethical to disturb a piece like that. And this land that Congress government is trying to take away is within the boundary wall. That is another aspect. That is why kids today, college students, are feeling that it was my land, irrespective of what the paper says, because it was, under the inside the compound wall. They feel that it is our land. Two, the entire HCU came out of the Telangana agitation of 1969. So it is a question of identity for us. Three, when you look at the legal and logical aspect of it, see, when Chandrababu Naidu garu gave away that land to IMG, and YSR came back and he said, no, we are not going to give it to IMG. Then IMG went to court, right? So this 25 years it is in court. So on whose behalf was the government fighting in the court? They said, we want this land back so that we can give it back to the university, right? So now when you get the land back, you suddenly change the stance and say, no, it is my land. But
I'm sorry to interrupt you here, ma'am. A Panchnama was actually released, 2004 dated Panchnama, where it was said that a substitute land as an alternative or as a substitution for this land parcel was actually given out, signed by the registrar. So what do you have to say on that? Because they believe that that has been settled.
Exactly. It is not settled. See, what the government or Rashekar Reddy's intention at that point of time, as we gather from the sources, is until we win this land back, we are giving you a substitute. But did the university expand into the substitute land? Is that land contiguous to the university land? No, there is a huge road in between. And this land parcel, the substitute land parcel, is on the other side of the road. Has the campus expanded into that part? No. Now, the contiguous part where you already have a compound wall, if you want, you can take that land. The land that the government gave as a makeshift arrangement, you can take that land and you can keep the university in one piece. You had a choice. You didn't have to encroach into it, destroy everything that was there, and now, come back claiming it was artificial intelligence driven, videos that we are spreading, etc. All these stupid allegations. So when it comes to the ethical question, the government was fighting for this land so that it can be given back to the university. Simple as that. That is what a common man would understand.
Yes.
Government is fighting for me, for the university. Now you are saying, no, this land belongs to me. And again, why is Congress government eyeing for this land? Because they are not able to manage the state finances. The state, which was lush with funds, now you are not able to manage. You want to sell the land and make money out of it. You already pledged those lands. 10,000 crores is the loan that you already raised on those lands. Now you want to sell them for good. So what are the future plans? What are you going to leave for the future is the main question here.
Two allegations that you've already addressed. I'd like you to elaborate on that. One is the Congress party and few leaders, in fact, not the party as a whole, have come out and stated that this is an entire funded PR campaign run by the BRS in terms of celebrities picking it up or certain key personalities who hold a certain amount of influence in the society. The second part of it is, we are going to take this money and eventually work for the development of Hyderabad or, spend it on welfare schemes, which the BRS doesn't want, so that they have a leg to stand on politically. These are two allegations being leveled at you. How would you respond to each of them?
See, first of all, BRS has 100 issues because Congress is faltering at every front. You don't need one more new issue where BRS will try to gain an upper hand over the Congress party. Congress failed the farmers, the women, the youth, every aspect. Yesterday, I've been to a village where I visited the crops which are dried in the perfect season. April was the time. April 4th is the time when we used to release water. So they're failing at every sector. So we don't need a new issue to fight the Congress. Point one. Point two, when there is a concern about any greening aspect in this country across the world, today the environmental awareness has creeped into everybody's mindset. So you don't need a political party to really drive at it. Even 8th class kid or a 7th class kid today is saying, why are you, cutting off the trees? That is a fundamental question. So now a person who is influential in the society is questioning the HCU encroachment by the government. They have every legitimate right, and they don't need a BRS telling them to go protest or you please tweet or you do this. No, and it is not a BRS driven campaign. It was started by the students. How can you influence the students to go sit there? They're intellectuals there in HCU. They're not young kids like fourth, fifth class students. They're intellectuals in making. They're PhD holders. Those are the guys who are, agitating against the government today. Now the government better come out clean, make sure they speak with these students and the registrar. So it is not that government always wins by winning. Sometimes in losing you win more hearts. And that is what the Congress government today should do. They should call the students, they should call the registrar, they should call all the influential persons who tweeted or did whatever, have a candid talk with them, go back a step, doesn't matter. You win the people's heart. Development, you please find money from wherever you can, because that is precisely what you promised. When BRS during the campaign, we questioned them, saying that you are promising people heaven, earth, and everything above and below. How will you fulfill it? They said we are a 130-year-old grand party. We have every ways and means to, get funds, develop the state. Now do that. No. Why do you want a university land? 400 acres is not a big parcel of land. Why do you want that? Is a
You mean to
question.
say issues like this, including the Pushpa stampede, are diversion tactics in a way?
No, I will not say that. Diversion tactics is what Mr. Revant Reddy is extremely good at. When we pin down in assembly saying that you have bought in 1,58,000 crores of debt, he suddenly picks up the matter of why is KCR not attending the assembly. So that is a classic diversion tactic. This is a arrogance of Congress government, thinking that we are in power, we can do anything. So you can't just walk into a university, take their land, and say, yes, I have a paper, so I'm in. You are no different than any gunda, and that cannot happen, and that people will not stand by. The Lagachirla incident, where they wanted to take away land from the tribals, that is the arrogance of Congress party. It is not diversion tactics. They made a mistake. They should agree. They should cancel it, like how they did it in Lagachirla.
Correct. Ma'am, the IT minister, Mr. Sridhar Babu, did an entire press conference, and during the course of which, one of the things he put out was he claims that the BRS employs dual standards. And I'd like to quote a few data points that he had put out. One is he says a total of around 428,000 acres of forest land was cleared during the BRS regime. 7,800 acres of forest land was cleared for Kaleshwaram. He goes on to say between 2016 and 19, Telangana was amongst the top 3 states when it comes to deforestation, leading to destroying almost over 12 lakh trees. So the allegation that is being leveled by the ruling parties, this exposes the hypocrisy of the BRS, because when you are in power, you're not bothered about the environment. But when we try to do the same thing for the betterment of the people, you have an issue. How do you respond to this allegation?
Well, I'll give you a data point which you can verify. About 20,000 hectares is the land from the forest which BRS has used for various developmental activities. There is no doubt about it. In our 9.5 years of rule, we have used about 20,000 hectares of forest land. But then we took very, very serious measures to increase the forest cover by 7.7%. I mean, we literally created more than 29 lakh hectares of forest land in the state. We made sure the forests which were thinning, they were thickened by us. We planted around 270 crore plantation, and we made sure the plants were taken care of. And you can today travel to any road. You can go to Nizamabad, you can go to Karimnagar. You see the beautiful flower, huge trees that were planted during the first, second year of the BRS regime now have grown across the state. I'm not lying. I mean, you can just take your camera right now and go with me. So the efforts of BRS in greening of Telangana was appreciated by the parliament. 7.7% cover of forest increase, while every other state was going down in terms of forest coverage. It is no small achievement, and we are very serious about it. Yes, by all means, if you have to take land, then make sure you at least double it or triple it and increase
Make sure
the
you
forest
compensate,
cover.
you mean.
But this is a very emotive issue. So you can find this kind of land elsewhere. very next thing that you gave as a makeshift arrangement, that land itself you can take. Why go on a ego trip with the students, and why file so many cases on the students? I demand through your podcast that they immediately take back the cases. See, it is students' rights to protest. Why are you lodging cases? They are not terrorists. They are not.
According to them, they were not even students.
Horrible.
They were paid activists who were brought into the campus who protested.
How are they different from BJP? BJP calls whoever is protesting, all sorts of names. I'm not going to repeat them here. But how is this Congress government different? Who claim that, where their leader takes a constitution wherever he goes, pulls out a pocket constitution and says, I'm going to protect it. Please come to HCU, Mr. Rahulji. You came here during the election. Why are you not coming now? Why does not he have the heart to speak about the HCU issue in the parliament? Why is he not taking up? Now, these are the questions that the Congress party should answer. That is why I'm calling them arrogant. And see, until you come to power, you are pro people. Once you are in power, you forget.
That's what social media is saying. They're saying when Adani
exactly
resorts to deforestation, you have all the voice in the world to raise that. But when the Telangana government does it, you don't really pull them up.
Absolutely. And in the same HCU, when Rohit Vemula's issue happened, BRS was in government. And I spoke pro Rohit Vemula. Entire BRS government was pro Rohit Vemula. See, any institutional crime is crime. And if you are in power or out of power, you should not change your stand on those issues, because ultimately it will set a precedence in the society. You could be in power for 5 years, you could be gone tomorrow, but you can't set a wrong precedent. And this is absolutely wrong precedence what this Congress government is doing. And by supporting them blindly, Rahulji is conducting a huge mistake, and I hope he rolls it back. I hope he'll stop this HCU encroachment by their own government.
Got it, ma'am. Ma'am, there's one word, faith, which has been very controversial in Indian politics, I think, for a long time. A lot of people talk about post 2014, but I think even pre 2014, when the Congress party was in power majoritarily, faith was always a flashpoint. So before getting into certain aspects like Wakf, UCC, I'd like to understand what is personally your definition of faith. What does it mean? Because it is a personal aspect, and I think the definition to each person is very different. And what sort of a role faith plays in each individual's life is that person, his or her call. So, what does it mean for you before we get into the nitty-gritties of controversies around faith?
See, I'm a very religious person. I follow a lot of rituals. I believe in God very, very strongly. I'm a very staunch and a very proud Hindu. There is no doubt about it. But my puja, my faith will stop the moment I step out of my door. My house, inside my puja room, it is my relationship with my God. But when I go out, I have no right to say that, Akash, you don't believe in my God, so I will not like you or I will treat you a different way. Not happening. That is not correct. And I will never endorse any party, even my own party or any other party, if they cross that line of encroaching into somebody else's religion, somebody else's personal matter. It is not correct. And that is what today both the Congress does in a very, Congress does it behind the curtain, BJP does it openly. Both of them are same. But BRS has never done that, and we will never do it.
Ma'am, if the union government's version is supposed to be considered, when it comes to the Wakf bill, they say that this A promotes transparency, B also weeds out a lot of irregularities, which is not a problem that has been raked up right now, but multiple times in the past also there were controversies around irregularities concerning Wakf properties. What is your preliminary stand on this before I get into what the Telangana CM said?
No, see, any religious institutions we've seen across the world, not only in India, there have been a lot of allegations on any religious institutions that the properties have been misused, or the funds have not been utilized properly, or the religious institutes are not promoted the way people want it to be, etc., etc., etc. Every religion has the same thing. But that does not mean that the government will go and interfere into a personal matter of any religion. And Muslims themselves in Telangana, across the country, multiple times have demanded judicial status for the Waqf. There is no doubt about it. But what this Waqf bill does is interfere and go inside the institution to play a role. That we should not accept. Because, see, as I said, I'm a very staunch Hindu. Tomorrow, if somebody wants to interfere into a personal affair of a Hindu religious institution, I will fight it tooth and nail. I myself will sit on a dharna saying that no, my institution people who understand this particular religion should deal with it. So that is my simple top line approach. As BRS, we've opposed the Wakf bill in the parliament. We voted against it, and we are that is what our stand is on the bill. And I am surprised that Rahul Gandhi ji, who wears a topi, says that I am the protector of the Muslims of this nation, being the opposition party leader of the largest party in the parliament, has nothing to say on this bill. Very unfortunate, no? Priyanka ji is not there in the parliament.
In their defense, actually, the chief minister comes out and says, I was the first one to bring this topic out. And also, I want to ask you a rather strategic question. Sometimes when the BRS takes on Mr. Rahul Gandhi directly, right? Uh, just as an observation, this may not be a fact, but there is this sense that the audience gets that, okay, by going at Rahul Gandhi directly, is it in any way dismissive of the Telangana chief minister saying, okay, we are going to directly take on the man sitting in Delhi and not you? And because Revant Reddy did speak up about Wakf.
See, point here is Revant Reddy has no decision-making power. Whatever decisions are made in Congress party are made by their top leadership, which is Rahul ji. So an important aspect like Wakf, which affects the Telangana Muslims as much as it affects the whole country's Muslims. So that decision is not Mr. Revant Reddy's. We are not dismissing. He's our chief minister. If we go out of the state or inside the states, we always address him with respect. There is no doubt about it. But he unfortunately has no decision making power, and he proves it by flying to Delhi every other day. In fact, I call him a flight mode chief minister because for anything and everything, he has to go to Delhi. For MLCCT, he has to go to Delhi. For ministry expansion, he has to go to Delhi. And he cannot claim that on Wakf he has an independent opinion and it should be taken seriously. It cannot be. A party like Congress, a party like BJP, they have national level, boards, etc., party structure which make the decision. So here, when we take on Rahul ji, it is because it is his decision, not Revant Reddy's decision.
Speaking of the minority community and the assurances made to them over a series of the last 10 years, one issue that is boiling in the Congress party right now is the absence of a minority minister. Now, I'd like you to answer this question in two ways. One, how do you look at, during your tenure, one of the deputy chief ministers, in fact, belonged to the minority community. How do you respond to the minority community not having a representation in the Telangana cabinet as of now? Second aspect, the minority community backed the BRS party in a lot of ways from 2014 to 2023. That vote was seen shifting a little bit towards the Congress in 2023 when they backed the elections. Do you see an opening once again? Because this means that pissing off the minority community means BRS is looked at as an alternative once again.
First of all, let me say this. From the United AP till the last BRS government, there was no single cabinet without a minority minister. Even if it was for namesake, even if they were just given the minority welfare portfolio, it was there. A person was there, a minister was there, a slot in the ministry was always there for minorities. But this is the first government in the 75 years of history that there is no representation of a minority minister. Point one. Point two, when Telangana state was made, to respect the Ganga Jamuna Tehzeeb, the culture, we've made sure that we gave a deputy chief minister to a SC leader and also to a minority leader. And I must tell you, this is not only first time for Telangana, but across the nation, other than Kashmir, you've never seen a deputy chief minister rank portfolio given to a minority Muslim, that too. And we had given it, and we gave him the very good portfolio. Our party BRS gave him the home minister portfolio, and everybody was very surprised. But that is the kind of trust that BRS has on the minorities, especially the Muslim minorities who are in large numbers here in Telangana. After that, throughout the 10 years of BRS rule, 9.5 years of BRS rule, we made Urdu the official language. We made sure that Urdu is respected everywhere. Boards are put in Urdu. So it is not just the power, it is also the respect and
the environment you create.
The ambience that we created, that we are all the same. Now, where is that today? Forget giving a minister. Where is that today? Muslims en masse did not shift to Congress, but in certain seats they did not support us. We lost as a result. There is no doubt about it. Now, Rahul ji not addressing the Wakf bill, Muslim community in Telangana, I want them to rethink on how you supported Congress and how Congress is not supporting you, and how BRS respected you and how Congress is not respecting you. Iftar you give There is no gift to be given to poor Muslims, which is a necessity. Today, everybody says that yes, there are many poor Muslims, Christians, and Hindu women waiting for Batukama saris, Christmas gift, Ramzan gift, and this government has no heart to do that. So, in terms of addressing the poor of the Muslims, in terms of respecting the Urdu, in terms of giving them powerful positions, there is no representation anywhere. And you look at the budget that was given to the Muslims, they promised 4,000 crores to be given. They released 2,000 crores, out of which only 900 crores is spent. So we always spent triple that amount when we were in power. And you add to the inflation, it is much more higher. And Congress is not doing that. So Muslims will shift to BRS for two reasons. One, we've always backed them. We've always believed that Ganga Jamna Tehzeeb is the strength of Telangana, and that is how we prospered and developed. Two, when BRS was in power in 9.5 years, there was no single communal violence that had happened in Telangana. After Congress government came into power in 15 months, at least 15 incidents are there of huge communal violence. They are not able to control the law and order. For these two reasons, I'm very confident that the Muslims of Telangana will once again back BRS party and KCR.
There are some who say that Mr. Revant Reddy does not want a minority minister eventually aiding the AMIM and the OACs. Do you believe that?
Well, as of now, they haven't given a position, and as I told you, and as people can see, it is not Mr. Revant Reddy's decision to make. It is the top leadership of the Congress that is disrespecting the Muslims of Telangana. The chief minister, unfortunately, I believe, has no role in deciding who gets a cabinet.
Talk about Muslims in Telangana. One personality or one party you definitely cannot ignore is the AIMI.
Right.
While you were in power, it was always a friendly party, quote unquote, as multiple leaders, including the former chief minister, has put on record. But immediately after that, we see Mr. Akbaruddin Owaisi on the floor of the House directly attacking your family, saying you're not interested in the issues of the people of Telangana, you'd rather speak about one family member. He targeted you personally, forget your family, right? How do you see this? Because a friendly party turning into an absolute enemy, forget attacking you politically, but attacking you personally. How do you respond to this, and where did it all fall off?
Well, I believe in karma. What you give now, where you are going to get it back. So, Mr. Akbaruddin Owaisi or the MIM party will definitely get it back at one point of time. That is point one. Point two, politically, you can be friendly with a party. Um, we have maintained that friendship for one major reason, that we wanted to give a very strong message to the Muslim community of Telangana that a party led by Muslims, which has 90% Muslim MLAs and most of the times 100% Muslim MLAs, is respected by BRS. But if it is not reciprocated, I would urge with my father personally, because I am not in a decision making position, that next time around when BRS will come back to power, we should think of a different strategy in how do we deal with the MI.
Because this isn't the first time. I mean, even pre-elections, I think they made that entire statement about the steering of the car being in their hand. They were imposing themselves onto the party. So, was there a power tussle, and how did the breakout eventually happen? A little bit more about
No, well, I would simply say that, see, there is no power tussle. We've always treated them like a friendly party when it came to giving an MLC in Hyderabad, when it came to, a lot of things that were addressed to help the Muslim community as a whole. We respected whatever suggestions MIM party had to give. The moment the power shifted, they shifted. We did not change. We still respect the Muslims the way we do. We still gave Imam the respect they deserve. We never, slipped a word on anything. So, see, when you want to pick faults, there are many, but I will not do it because I'm never a person known to attack anybody personally. I will attack the policies of each person, but not them personally. But in this case, I will urge with my leader that next time around when BRS comes to power, we need to choose our friends very carefully.
another topic that has been in the debate for the longest time, ma'am, the Uniform Civil Code. Right? One state, Uttarakhand, has already implemented that. It has been termed as anti-Islamic, it has been termed as unconstitutional by certain players. What is your preliminary stand on the Uniform Civil Code? Do you believe it is necessary? It sets a statement? Or do you believe that personal law should be left to religious institutions to handle?
See, this is a issue that we will address when it actually comes in the form of a bill across the nation. But I think what BJP is right now doing is they are going to leave the uniform civil code to the states. So wherever BJP is in power, they want to bring a state specific legislation.
Got it.
and to suit their own politics in states. So that all of us should understand and not hyper react. And I'm happy yesterday in the Wakf bill also the opposition parties did not hyper react. And I think BJP is secretly very pissed about it. But they should be, because people have also understood the tactics now. In the UCC also they should understand. But as an individual, not as a BRS party person, I would like to say that in this country, in terms of criminal law, criminal proceedings, law is uniform for everybody. So stop misguiding the people, saying that it is not uniform law for everybody. And when you are playing politics with the personal laws of each community at the state level, I think each state will independently read into it and react politically.
Man, there was a larger or rather popular belief that polarization in the name of religion will not work in Telangana. But from 0 to 2 to 4 to now 8 MPs that the BJP has backed, considering their Hindutva flavor that they bring in. On the other hand, Mr. Yogi Adityanath makes statements like "Batenge to Katenge." He was in Hyderabad during 2018 saying, "We'll change the name of Hyderabad to Bhagyanagar." Do you get a sense that maybe that narrative is now working in Telangana? There are buyers for the narrative that they're trying to propagate.
See, two things are there. BJP's strategy in Telangana, at least as a direct victim, I think I understand it better. One layer, they are working on the religious polarization. The other layer, BJP continuously works from top to bottom in every state in this country, is to label the opponent party corrupt. It could be any party. See, if you are not with BJP, you are corrupt. So any corrupt person whom they blame, once they join BJP, वो तो दूध का धुला हो जाता है. There are Ajit Pawar, Scindia, there are so many people to, you know the whole list. At least 30, 35 popular leaders who joined BJP are now very clean because they get ministerial berths, etc. But this double-headed strategy of BJP, riding on the religious polarization with the allegations of corruption. See, today, Madam Sonia ji is on bail. Rahul Gandhi ji is on bail. Revant Reddy garu, our CM, is on bail. Siddaramaiah garu is on bail. So when you look at the whole nation, the BJP has a double standard of trying to polarize the public religiously and ride with the corruption allegation.
But
So this people are seeing, because see, Telangana people gave 8 MPs to them. And in this budget, we did not get 8 rupees. And Congress, we gave 8 MPs. They did not even raise the voice at least 8 times. So 8 plus 8 has become 0 in Telangana. So now people are understanding that by voting to these parties, what are we gaining? Other than, this talk about Mandir, Masjid, Mandir, what have we gained as a state? No single project. Bihar mein election hai next year. They get a 1.5 lakh project. IAP, they are in coalition. They are getting many, many projects. Tamil Nadu, they're in coalition or not in coalition, they're getting a lot of projects. What is Telangana getting? Why should people vote for BJP? Why should Telangana people vote for Congress? Now people are thinking.
the contradicting point to that is, ma'am, the counter to that is, can any party in India today be exempted from this clause? Because I believe even BRS took in MLAs from Congress when they came in, people who they might have attacked in the past. So when the defection policy, it's open season. Anybody can go into any party. So can any political party in India today stand on a moral high ground and say we did not do this? Washing machine politics is something that we never resorted to.
No, but BRS never said we are going to polarize people on a certain ground, right? Which BJP openly does. The top leadership themselves openly does. So you cannot say that I'm only addressing your concern and then come from the back door and say, no, 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 there is a political agenda to it. So that deceit is what I think people are now seeing. But will it immediately get an effect? Will it convert into vote? That is on parties like us, because the whole burden of, unproving them and proving ourselves, it is a lot of burden. But then, yes, I think regional parties like us are still doing very strong and trying to bounce
Better
back.
compared to them is what you mean.
Yes, absolutely.
Got it. Ma'am, as you said, you're a religious person, and I think uh, just from an observational standpoint, so is your family, and that has been very evident in public life as well. Though the family has ensured, like you said, to never bring it to the fore, to never make it political. But obvious questions will be raised when certain things are observed. When leaders of your party share a stage with people like Udayanidhi Stalin, who goes on one leg to say that I will wipe out a particular faith. I don't want to bring in faith into this, but it was a statement made. He was talking about the Sanatana Dharma. Do you think it's a valid question to come out say that it's It's dual standards because on one side you believe in the faith, on the other side you're sharing a stage with somebody like that.
So we shared the stage with the Congress CM as well. So the stage was very colorful. All the whole spectrum of leaders were sitting there. So that stage was a different stage where the issue of delimitation, where South India losing has come into question. So I don't think fundamentally it was sharing stage with Stalin that matters, but it is Udayanidhi Stalin that is matters. But sharing stage for a common cause is what matters, and that should be looked at in that light.
Got it. Coming to delimitation, you brought it up anyway. The BJP says the South will not, the number of seats or Lok Sabha seats in the southern part of India will not decrease. But one thing they do not address, according to a lot of people, is you're not talking about how many extra seats will North Indian states get, which today happens to be the stronghold or the bastion of the BJP. How do you look at delimitation? And executionally, where do you think it lies at this point in time?
I will really give you a longish answer for
Please,
this
ma'am,
because when you look at the current scenario of delimitation, there are two, three things in delimitation, right? First is increasing the number of MLA seats. Second is increasing the number of MP seats. Third is bringing in the reservations. It could be women reservation. It could be how do you adjust the SC/ST reservation, and now the current demand of OBC reservation. How do you address all this? So there are three aspects to it. See, when you think about the MLA delimitation, I think across the nation it has to be done immediately. Forget about election, no election. You have to do MLA seat delimitation because in a state like Goa, for every 50,000 people, you have an MLA. And in a state like Uttar Pradesh, for every 6 lakhs, you have an MLA.
That's 12 times.
That is 12 times. So the point where actual issues get addressed is at the MLA level, is at the state level. So that needs to be immediately addressed, and delimitation across all states has to happen because our population from 1971 has grown leaps and bounds till now, and the same amount of representatives will not serve any purpose. So that is first thing. There should not be any doubt or any discussion on that. Is what I believe personally. Two, when you look at the MP reservation, there are right now existing scenario. I'll start with my state. We have 4 crore population and we have 17 MP seats. Odisha has about 4.7 crore population and estimated 2025 population, and they have 21 seats. So for 70 lakhs, you are increasing 4 MP seats as of now, right? And then there is a very interesting trio here. Tamil Nadu has about 7.8 crore population, right? They have 39. And Karnataka has 7.10 crore. So only 70 lakh population difference, but they have only 28 seats, right? At the same time, Madhya Pradesh, and this is, I'm talking about the up north, Madhya Pradesh has 8.6 crore population, yani more than a crore population of Karnataka, but they have only 29 MP seats. Now, from the South India, we are saying we have less MP seats. But Madhya Pradesh, which has 8.6 crore population, only has 29, whereas Karnataka, which has 7.10 crore, have 28 MP seats. I'm not saying South India should not get more seats. I'm only saying there is a lot of anomaly in our country right now. We need to evolve. One other number I'll give. Maharashtra has 13 crore population. There is 48 MP seats. Bihar has 13 crore population. They only have 40 seats. So with the same population, already there is a difference of 8 seats. So it is, forget about South. Maharashtra and Bihar together, when you compare, same population. Maharashtra has 8 more seats, Bihar has less seats. Now why? We don't know how they divided earlier or what the delimitation terms of reference were there, what terms were
What
used,
parameters?
what parameters were used, right? So now when we are looking at this question again, we need to really look into more data points. We need to really look into more socio-economic aspects. We need to look at the terrain of the states. We need to look at the rainfall. We need to look at the economic activity. So it cannot be randomly done. And there is no hurry to get into, dividing MP seats. The hurry is to get into the division and delimitation of MLA seats, because that is where people need more public representatives addressing their issues. I need my gully's nala to be fixed here. MP can't do that. An MLA can do it. So we need an MLA for the population density areas. That should increase immediately. And BJP has done it in 2 states where it suited them. right? And they're not doing it in Telangana and AP because it doesn't suit them. And although our reorganization promises us, they're not doing it in the last 10 years. BJP is in power. Why are you not doing it? So this politics of delimitation, and DMK also unfortunately today is eyeing the 2026 election and talking about triple language policy and
I was coming to that.
delimitation, etc. So despite that, we supported because in South India, not only the political representation, the projects that North India gets, South India never gets. The packages that North India gets, the gift cities that Gujarat gets, can Tamil Nadu get it? No, we never got anything. Kerala is struggling. Are you giving anything to Kerala today? Karnataka was in debt. No, you helping them? No. So this entire economic imbalance of not getting the projects. In fact, I propose, and I really hope this proposal picks up when the ministries are given. I think that is where South should get more representation. Although we have a finance minister from South India, unfortunately, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman doesn't give anything to South India. Does not give anything.
Ma'am, but your argument, I mean, the figures that you've just quoted about Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, etc., to an extent goes against the narrative that is being built up by DMK or a few South Indian parties.
Well, why should I support DMK?
No, I'm not saying you're supporting them. What I mean to say is, it shows that South India may not be the only region that has gotten the raw end of the deal. Like you said, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, there are other states. Does this in any way justify the need to push for Lok Sabha delimitation?
As I said, Lok Sabha delimitation, we should not hurry. But assembly delimitation is something that we should really look into it. And like Vajpayee ji did earlier, without changing the numbers, you can always change the boundaries of Lok Sabha.
The jurisdictions.
The jurisdictions of Lok Sabha constituencies. And that could probably have a, better redressal system for the people. Ultimately, why are you doing this for the people? If that is the truth, then you don't need to hurry about the MP elections because MPs have a minimal role to play. MLAs have a larger role to play in terms of public deliverance of solving their issues or whatever. So MLA delimitation should be done quickly. MP delimitation, no hurry. And if at all it has to be done, like what BRS has proposed, a proportionate representation for the states. Like right now we have 17, and what is our proportion in the Indian government? That proportion should be retained. So it does not matter how much you increase number of seats, that the proportion percentage to our existing political proportion representation that should be safeguarded.
Ma'am, two debates. One is the Hindi debate that you just addressed. Hyderabad is a city, being from the city myself, most Hyderabadis are more than proud to speak Hindi.
Yes.
In fact, they're proud to speak any language using which they can communicate with somebody who's an outsider, right? When it comes to other South Indian states, I mean, I would have to give it to them. Even the Andhra Pradesh government came out and said, the more the merrier. Learn more languages than 3, in fact, if you can. But Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala to an extent can be kept out of this. How do you respond? Because in a recent conclave of a national media channel, Mr. Revant Reddy, talking about the national education policy, also went on to say, do not impose. But when you read the policy document, it says 3-language policy, something that CBSE and ICC schools have been implementing for the longest time. I'm a product of the 3-language policy for that matter. And आप भी हिंदी बहुत अच्छी बोलते हो तो and Revant Reddy himself also went on to say, I've learned Hindi and I'm speaking in Hindi today. So where do you stand on this language debate and looking at it from an economic standpoint? Because you're somebody who's always spoken about economic factors. Does it open up doors for people who maybe want to or wish to work in lands like Delhi, Mumbai? Life becomes easier. So does it open up doors? And where do you stand on the Hindi debate, keeping Telangana specifically in mind?
See, two things. I'm a mother. I want my children not to be burdened with learning too many languages. But my son chose to learn Spanish. What can I do? Some people are learning French. Some kids are choosing Sanskrit. Some kids are choosing, some other language. Maybe they have in mind that they want to go to a Switzerland or to a Germany to work later. So in the era of globalization, the debate is not just restricted to Hindi, Sanskrit, Tamil, Telugu. That is from the student's perspective. And I had a representation the other day from a North Indian family who are now Telangana. They've been settled here for generations, but they speak Hindi at home. So they came out and told us that, Madam, your government, BRS government, has made Telugu compulsory second language. Can we be exempted from it? I took a standpoint. I said it should not be exempted, but people who live here should respect Telugu, learn Telugu. So we'll have to make sure that the language is easy enough, and the number of teachers hired for Telugu in private schools should be more. But we should keep Telugu as a compulsory second language, is the stand that I took.
Isn't that imposition in that?
It is not, because when you are living in a Karnataka, when you're going to Germany, you learn German, you make that effort, because that is where is your karam bhumi, as they say. That is where you are earning your bread and butter. If I tomorrow will go and settle down in Bangalore, I better learn Kannada. I better respect them. So somebody settling here in Telugu place, either AP or Telangana, let them learn. No, put more effort. It is a respect that you are showing towards the money that you are making out of this land, nothing else. So if you are earning your money, pay back to the land. Now, when it comes to Hindi, Hindi has been a kind of a common language across the nation, not from now, but from the independence movement. So there is a historic perspective to everything. I don't like Hindi, I don't have to speak Hindi. Nobody is imposing. But when you look at the new policy, if you think that it is imposing, and we should, as states, fight for education to be only on state list instead of becoming on the concurrent list.
Rather than using it politically.
Exactly. Well, you everything you want to turn into politics and everything you want to say it is an identity issue. No, it's not. You are a state already, and India is not a centralized place, it is a union government. So we are a union of states, we are a republic. So there is no question of somebody encroaching on my this thing. You can always go to a Supreme Court and say, I will not follow this, and nobody will come and impose it on you, and you have that right as a state. So first thing, we need to fight for the education to be under state list, whichever state it is. Because see, when you go to Bihar, the language in India changes for 60 to 70 kilometers. Here we are so diverse. In Karnataka,
between AP and Telangana.
Absolutely. In Karnataka, there are so many languages. Now, who is talking about Konkani? Everybody says Kannada. Now, can there be a microscopic moment saying, why are you not talking about Konkani? Why are people in Bihar who is not talking about Bhojpuri? See, there are so many dialects, there are so many languages, and today for the entire tribal community, there is no script for the Gorboli language. And we as a republic have never paid any attention. The Gonds today study in Telugu. We have literally made no effort to create a script for them. What are we talking about? Language. So if you want to only talk about majority language, because I have more population, Telugu speaking people are next to Hindi speaking people, I don't want imposition. Yeah, okay, but you be sensitive, no? I should also make an effort to make sure that the Gond learns in his language, that the Lambada learns in his language, the Konkani person learns in his language. No, we are not making. So we cannot be hypocrites. But one thing we can all fight about is, yes, education should be a state subject, and you should respect the land where you are earning your bread and butter. It could be Germany, it could be France, it could be Telangana. You are here in Telugu state, please make an effort to learn Telugu.
You mean to say that the policy should be looked at pragmatically and each aspect of it should be understood?
More respect to the vulnerable languages is what I'm saying.
Got it.
We Tamilians, we Telugus who are in majority, we can dictate terms any day. But are we also taking care of our own dialects internally in our own states? That is also a larger question. We should look inwardly as well while criticizing the BJP.
How much of this do you think is the stereotype battle, ma'am? Because I'll have to point this out in Telugu movie industry as well. For the longest time, the slang, or I wouldn't call it slang also, the way we speak Telugu in Telangana was used as a comic element.
Yes.
Today also, when you go up north, the reason why a lot of people detest learning a North Indian language is because either they've been called Madrasi or they've heard somebody being called a Madrasi. People don't even know which language is spoken in which state, in which part of South India. So there is a gap in awareness, evidently, right? How much of this entire movement do you think is feeding off stereotypes?
Well, certain parties survived on this entire campaign of, resisting the national language. You know who I'm talking about. So apart from what actually matters to people, sometimes politics go beyond that and it becomes an identity question, and some parties carry them forward and reap the result as this thing. But yes, I've lived in Delhi, I worked as an MP. When I speak Hindi, they say, oh, your South Indian Hindi is very good. I'm like, okay. And everybody's like, I'm surprised that you speak Hindi. I'm like, okay. I don't take it as an offense, but there are few people who take it as an offense, right? So as statesmen, as leaders, my only appeal is, whichever state you go, if you are studying in Bihari and if there is a Bhojpuri belt, they should learn Bhojpuri. If you are making your money from that land, you learn that language. First point. Second point, should not be imposed, because India is too big, too different. Telangana is the size of the France. My population, my state is the size of France. We are like a
mini country in
itself. So we cannot impose anything. And state should fight for the education, health to be under their control at any cost. If during the COVID, state did not have as much control on the health, my people would have suffered, but we made sure they did not because it was totally under state's control. That is the more control that we should.
Ma'am, one controversial statement considering the Hindi debate has become a flashpoint, and it comes from the Deputy Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Pawan Kalyan. I'd like to take the liberty to pose a question on that. He says India is not a cake piece. You cannot cut it into parts. People are supposed to learn Hindi. What is the problem? I can speak as many languages. How do you respond to that? Because people against him have gone out on one leg to say he's visionless and he's jobless because of these statements that he makes.
Well, as I said, I don't take him seriously. Unfortunately, he's a deputy chief minister of the neighboring state, but everything about him has been questionable in politics. I don't know how a Che Guevara loving person turns out to be a complete rightist, first thing. Second thing, whatever political statements we've heard, always he has contradicted himself. Now, I'll not be surprised if this particular statement tomorrow he'll go to Tamil Nadu and say we should not impose Hindi. So, I will really not want to respond on Mr. Pawan Kalyan's statement because I don't think he's a serious politician. Unfortunately, he became the deputy CM, but I don't think he's a serious politician.
In a recent interview, you had mentioned that when it comes to political parties where women are at the helm of things, you quoted the examples of Mamata Banerjee, you also quoted the example of Ms. Jayalalitha, who've given a lot of seats to women candidates. And you also mentioned in the same question that any party which has been with men at the helm of things, the same has not happened. When it comes to your party, do you believe that you have taken care of the women community as much as you ideally should have because you fight for the causes of women a lot yourself? Secondly, do you think BRS would ever have a woman at the helm of the party?
First of all, let me jog your memory back when Mr. Pawan Kalyan says that I will remove my home minister and I will take hold of, take charge of this ministry because one particular issue was not handled to his taste. And when you look back at it, she was a woman, Dalit, I believe that too. So he has the guts to say that he'll take over the home minister. Now, Mr. Pawan Kalyan should answer if the home ministry was held by Mr. Lokesh, would he have made that statement? Just because a woman was holding that statement, a Dalit woman was holding that portfolio, he openly made that statement. How dare you? And now you come out and talk about women being respected, giving given place. No, every person in power, whoever slightens the women, will ultimately have to face the wrath. And Pawan Kalyan Garu has done that mistake by slighting his own home minister in his own government, right? So he has no right to talk about women leadership, first thing. Second thing, BRS, as any other party, as I've always said it very openly, unfortunately, like every other party in the country, has underrepresentation of women, right? We have very less MLAs, we have very less MPs, and we have very less chairmen, so whatever it is. But it is not just BRS, it is every party. And wherever women chief ministers have come, and one exemption I see is Mr. Naveen Patnaik ji, who has made an effort to give 33% to women. And on the other hand, we see people like Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Garu, who has not even implemented the local 33% reservation till date. It is pending for a long time. So India as a country has a lot of anomaly, and BRS is no exemption. But this will all change when it becomes a law. We fought for women reservation. We got it, but unfortunately, it is still a post dated check because it is linked to census, it is linked to delimitation. So, that is why I am urging the central government. So, please immediately, at least MLA delimitation should be done. So, at least at the state level, women leaders will immediately come in and do not engage into this controversy of losing seats, this, that, and stall the MP delimitation as well. You can adjust the boundaries, you can bring in the 33% reservation and go ahead with the next election. At least next election, women MPs and MLAs should be more. But at the same point, I would like to say a real serious social change has to happen in this country. Because in the last 75 years, we have tried reservations of SCs, STs. And in the last 10 years, we decided that we need to extend it by 10 more years because there is no real change. But then at least the representation is there because of the reservations. So now it is a time for the BCs to get that chance of the nation. BC reservation has to be taken seriously. Caste census has to be done in this country. If not anything, in the interest of understanding your domain, what people are you trying to govern? How many people are there in this country? We need to have a number. We need to count, what is the demography. Once you do that, how to uplift them will be the next question. But today we are blindly following the age-old laws that we have, and we are just bulldozing, governing. Our people are very good. Indians are amazingly patient and amazingly good and law-abiding citizens. So we are running the country. When you look at any ratio, people to police, people to doctor, people to lawyer, we are low on every indices. But yet the crime rate is very low compared to any other
States could not do one RT-PCR test when
Yes.
COVID struck us.
But people are good. People are fundamentally Indians are good. So we are surviving as a nation. But this needs to be really taken to the next level. A very scientifically made policy making should be the future. And for that, I demand caste.
Ma'am, since you've been back in action, I was going through the list of events you've conducted. I believe 110, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Coming to that, two issues that you've picked up very vigorously. One is the BC reservation.
Yes.
Second is the fight for women's representation in the political aspects of things.
Yes.
You've just spoken about a statement given by Pawan Kalyan. It'll be unfair if I don't pose this question to you. Then how do you respond? Is it nitpicking? Then how do you respond? He has apologized, but then how do you respond to your brother's statement when he says breakdance? Some people say it was
What did he say?
when he passed the breakdance comment pertaining to free buses, right? There are some people who say it was misconstrued, taken out of context, but there's also a large chunk of people who got offended by that. He did go and issue an unconditional public apology. But when you question something that Mr. Pawan Kalyan says, do you believe you have to look within as well?
No, see, Akash, my brother or Pawan Kalyan Garu, anybody who speaks about women and anybody who's a leader in leadership role, they should immediately apologize. And I am happy these two gentlemen have apologized already. But see, the conditioning of our politicians, starting from anybody sitting in Uttar Pradesh to Kerala, if you have to insult a male politician, what do they say? Chudi pen le, main saadi bech dunga. Main chudi pehnti hu yaar. Doesn't mean I'm not powerful.
Yes.
I'm very powerful. I can go out, tackle any situation.
Woman hona gali nahi hai.
Yeah, it is not a gali. And in our politics, it is used as a gali. In Telugu states, every other day they say, Addanva, Chirapampalna, Gazul. Same thing happens in across the nation, So they're insulting that, and the conditioning in politics is like that. That has to change. So it is my brother, it is Mr. Pawan Kalyan. I think they should apologize, and I'm happy they've apologized. But at the same time, there should be a fear factor. As I said, would you have made the same statement if Mr. Nara Lokesh was the home minister at that point of time? You would not have. So if when you're looking at the women in power as a tokenism, then you can slighten them. Then you can make such statements. So that conditioning in politics has to change. If my brother has commented also, I believe as BRS, as I said, BRS is no exemption. BRS has not treated women equally as well. But that has to change. That is why I fought for the law. That is why we did it, and I'm happy with
Ma'am, I'll have to give you that. I mean, I've seen very few politicians who come out and accept a mistake, because there's a larger than life belief in this country where we believe politicians are beyond mistakes.
Not
We
at all.
expect them to be sacrosanct and not commit a single mistake. So I'm glad you've accepted and you've conceded wherever you feel that you can.
We are normal people, Akash, politicians. And when I came into politics, one thing I very deeply believed and wanted to do it, and I believe I'm still doing it. When any woman looks at me, she should think, okay, I can join politics. She's all right.
You've said that a lot of times.
Right? And no woman should say that I will not want to join politics because I don't want to see leaders like Kavitha. And that is the only thing I struggle for. And I believe I have been successful so far, because many young women come up to me and say, ma'am, you've inspired us. And we have started an NGO. Ma'am, you've inspired us. I fought for Sarpanch election. Tomorrow I want to be an MLA. So I'm happy. I feel very good when we say that. But on a larger issue, Akash, politicians in this country have been always slighted in movies, etc., etc. But we are all not that bad. But the discourse that is happening in the country currently is lightening us and the people. So once that discourse changes, the dignity to politics, I hope, will return, and I will work my best to do that.
Coming to the BC reservation aspect, ma'am. On one hand, you've been fighting for it, and it has been a pending matter for almost decades now. I mean, yes, there have been political parties even in Telangana who said, let's have a BC chief minister. All of that has been put on the cold burner. There is one allegation that is often leveled at your party when they were in power. Two communities specifically, the community that you belong to and the Reddys, got disproportionate representation in the cabinet. So the accusation or the allegation being leveled is, when two communities were given preference to that extent when you were in power, Today, when you say you fight for BCs, is it believable? How would you respond to that?
Well, two things. Traditionally in Andhra Pradesh, power always has been with only so-called upper caste communities. Either it is a Brahmin, Kamma, Reddy, Velama. It has not gone to anybody. Vaishyas, Roshe Garu was there. All upper caste. Only one BC Chief Minister, Mr. Damodar Raj Narasimha was there. And other than that, no other person was made a chief minister. So when you look at the traditional politics of this region, AP, United AP, for the argument's sake, it has always been that. That is what I'm trying to say. It has to change. And when a separate Telangana became a reality, as a person who fought for the state, our leader was elected chief minister twice, right? So during that 10 years, our focus was entirely on the economical aspects of the state to uplift every community to a particular level. And we did so. We created a lot of wealth to the BC communities, to the SC communities, to everybody, even the poorest in the so called upper caste. We had done a lot of things that nobody ever did, like a Kalyan Lakshmi check went to a Vaishya, poor Vaishya's house. Many Vaishyas told me that no government gave us 1 rupee till now. And you are the only government who gave us 1 rupee. We put up a corporation for Brahmins, and no government had done. No, Uttar Pradesh government who has a number of Brahmins, they never gave a corporation for Brahmins. We did. So we took care of the upper caste, so-called upper caste. We took care of the BCs. We took care of the Dalits. Everybody, top to bottom. So we focused on the economic empowerment. Two, wherever there was possibility, we gave BC reservations in places like market committees where there was no entry for BCs or SCs or STs or women for that matter. We did that. We brought about a transformational change. We gave 8, I think 5 Rajya Sabha MPs to BCs, 8 MLCs, 9 including the Shravan Garu has just been made, and almost 58 corporation chairmans to BCs. And BRS as a party, we always had a policy that 51% of the party entire governing body will be given to OBCs from day one, not now, from 2001. That has been our social policy. Till date, that is a fact. My leader of opposition in the assembly, he's a backward classes personality, and he's one of the strongest propagation of Telangana movement.
Exactly.
He was there. So my point here is BRS always believed in social engineering. When Telangana was made a reality, we focused on the economical issues. We now have a crack in the whole legislation which can be taken advantage of. The reason why I took up the fight now is once the ceiling of 50% is broken, now BCs can be given. The courts
There's
can
precedence now.
there is precedence. We can go to the courts, get it done. We can focus on pressurizing both the central and state governments to now give reservation. Now there is a crack in that entire aspect of 50% ceiling, because as on today, Telangana is implementing 64% reservation. Right? So now there is a precedence. So if this has to be taken forward, that is why I took up the fight now. Earlier, 50% ceiling was there. The moment EWS reservation is given, that ceiling is broken. I'm happy EWS reservation is given. I am happy that I'm fighting for PC reservation, and we managed to pressurize this government here to put in the bill. But now the fight will be taken to Delhi, because we need to pressurize the Delhi government to accept this bill, President's assent to be given, and I hope it happens.
So, like you just said, you wouldn't shy away from saying certain communities have gotten the better part of the deal.
No, that is a fact. That is a fact. How will you deny it? The entire history of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, if you look at, only one BC and only one SC, I think, have been made the chief ministers. Anjay Garu, Oksari, Damodar Raj. Other than that, it has always been the so-called upper caste. Kamma, Reddy, Velma, Vishya, Brahmin. That is a fact, yeah. Well, how will you change it?
Another constitutional aspect which has been at the center of a lot of debate lately is freedom of speech.
Yeah.
You just said that, if somebody says you're South Indian Hindi, you will not take it as offensive, but maybe somebody else can. The parameters or the levels of tolerance of each individual differs based on their experiences, their personality, and their journey in life. Some aspects which are sensitive to you may not be sensitive to me,
True.
and vice versa. In this case, where do you stand on the freedom of speech debate? And I have a very categorical question on that. When Mr. Kunal Kamra uses the word Gaddar for a sitting deputy chief minister, cases are filed against him. There's police that is mobilized to arrest him, etc. A, how do you respond to the Kunal Kamra controversy? Second, how is what he used different from a Bandi Sanjay who's a minister at this point in time, saying BRS and Congress are supporting a Deshadrohi party, which again translates to a traitor. Gaddar and Deshadrohi, pretty much the same meaning. And he says, you guys are supporting Deshadrohis in EIMI. So, how is this different? And how do you respond? Where do you stand on the freedom of speech debate?
See, first thing, I think politicians should lighten up a bit. Try to, take the humor in a very positive way and work on it. First thing. Second thing, yes, people in power like Bandi Sanjay Garu, who is a Union Home Minister, MOS right now, he comes out and openly says statements like BRS party had a what that fake note, fake currency printing machines, and all that nonsense that he speaks. It is unfortunate that nobody files a case. When we try to go give a case on him, this government doesn't take. Now here is a Congress government, that is a BJP minister speaking. So when the leaders speak like that, how can you expect the people to not use the same language? And when people use that language, why are you taking it as an offense? Because you yourself are lowering the standards. I very strongly believe that a person who might hate me has every right to air his opinion. There is no doubt about it. But there is a sense of decency. There should be a sense of decorum when you are in politics, when you are making a public speech, right? So that decorum, if it is not maintained by a union home minister, how will it be maintained by anybody else? As that apart, Kunal Kamra is an artist. He should and must be given certain freedom, and we should take it in a lighter note and correct it if possible. And what he said is very right, very very right. That again comes
You
back
agree
to
with
the whole
most things he said?
defection, question and that debate of ethics, etc. But we should lighten up as politics, take it in our stride, go ahead and make some changes if we can. Otherwise, ignore it. But people like Bandi Sanjay's comment should be taken seriously, not Kunal Kamra's.
Because he's an elected representative of the people.
Absolutely. And he's a union home minister, for God's sake. And without proof, you keep on blabbering nonsense and nobody is there to check him. So law should not be different for Bandi Sanjay. Law should not be different for Kunal Kamra. If you can arrest a Kunal Kamra, if you can file a case on Kunal Kamra, you should be able to file a case on Bandi Sanjay as well. And because you are not doing that, and because the justice is selective, that is why people are hurting today. So it is fundamentally not the question of freedom of speech. People are blabbering whatever they want to say, but it is the selective targeting of few people and not the other people.
Now, my last question to you before I get into aspects surrounding your party and your future, your political future. There was one personality who Mr. KTR and the BRS party, when they were in power, welcomed to Hyderabad. That was Munawar Faruqi. After his arrest, after the entire controversy, where a lot of his shows were cancelled in other states. Now, there's one statement that stands out in whatever he has said. I'm not sure if you followed that particular controversy, but this is what he said. He was referring to Goddess Sita, and he said she would use a certain expletive which starts the letter B. I mean, quoting her, he had said that. When A, faith is central to the party, I'm not saying it's a political issue, but personally. B, you just said that, for some people, it could be a very personal issue and they could get offended. Uh, do you believe that, I mean, a person who's made a statement to that extent about Goddess Sita, do you believe that supporting him in any way harm the party, or is it right?
No, see, I would support Kunal Kamra because he is commenting on the current situation. I would not support anybody who's commenting on anybody's faith.
Got it.
So, in that sense, I don't think I'll support Munawar in that issue. Other than that, banning his shows,
No,
again,
that's futile. I mean, that's cancel culture.
exactly. That is crossing a line. But when
That's like saying India shouldn't play cricket with Pakistan even in a global event.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you cannot go ahead and speak nonsense about my religion. Not acceptable.
Got it. Coming to your party, ma'am. BRS. TRS became BRS. My first question to you, from having the agenda of a national third front to unfortunately coming down to zero MPs, where does the car go from here? And what are the reasons that you believe? My first conversation with you after 2023, so I take the liberty to ask you this question. Where did it go wrong? Because a lot of times when we speak to people in Telangana, one word that is used is arrogance. Do you believe that at some point arrogance set in? And that is the reason why people voted you out?
Well, see, the perception battle we certainly lost. Uh, when you look at my father individually as a leader, you look at him. He's the most accommodating person in terms of a leader for that stature. Anybody would go give him a suggestion, he would accept. But the opposition parties, both the Congress and BJPs, played it to a certain extent that he's not acceptable or he's not accessible, he's very arrogant, he's not
Farmhouse and
receiving
secretariat.
farmhouse, etc. They used a lot of imagery to malign his reputation, and I believe very strongly that we could not fight it back. That is why we've lost the election. Point one. Point two, in terms of delivery, in terms of the schemes going to the people, we are a success and we are far ahead than any other government till date. This government is not able to match us at all. There is performance wise, people are still remember BRS. Perception wise, I think we lost. But the more important aspect why we lost, and a very crucial aspect, is both BJP and Congress combining their forces together on the ground, very selectively targeting BRS leaders. I'll give you a very straightforward example. My father, our leader, fought from Kamareddy and Gajwal, 2 seats in the MLA election. So in Kamareddy, Revant Reddy garu contested on my father. In Gajwal, Itala Rajandar contested. But in Kodangal, nobody contested on Revant Reddy, nor in Itala's constituency. Congress did not give a serious candidate. In Kodangal, BJP did not give a serious candidate. So that is combination of forces in the MLA election. So I'm just giving you the important people's examples. But other leaders, every MLA seat, this coordination between BJP and Congress, undercovers, we witnessed. That is one of the major, reasons for our loss. That continued to MP election. So when Itala Rajendar goes and contests Malkajgiri election, which was formerly held by our Chief Minister Revant Reddy Garu, he gets a candidate from Chevella, not from local, from Chevella. He uproots a BRS leader, gets him in, joins him in Congress, gives him a seat on Itala Rajendar.
You mean to say it was only to benefit
Absolutely.
Mr. Itala Rajendar?
Absolutely. There was a very proper quid pro
Ma'am, but just to lighten things up a little bit,
BJP and Congress.
just to lighten things up a little bit, this entire accusation of B team and all of that, has it become like the EVM debate? Because the chief minister comes out and says BRS is a B team of the BJP and they are going to merge the party. And you say, Congress and BJP are hand in glove. Where does this stop? I mean, as a voter, I'm asking you.
No, now see, this is the issue that we should take it seriously rather than the language debate, because the very existence of any other party other than BJP and Congress, both of them, we are not allowing. They have made inroads into Tamil Nadu. Now AIDMK has to go to Delhi to sort out EPS OPS tussle. So imagine the kind of infringement on the local politics that these two national parties are trying to do. So that is actually the threat, not the three language policy, not anything. Actual threat is BJP and Congress do not want BRS to survive. So you will blame me that I'm the other party's B team. The other party will say you are the other party's B team. As a result, we lose the perception battle. So that is what happened to BRS. But we are coming back very strongly. We will address all those issues, and so should other regional parties to survive.
Got it. Do you at any point believe that AIMIM had a role in the entire election fiasco in terms of letting you down?
I don't know. I think the facts will come out in open sooner or later. But as I said, next time when we are in power, we will and we should choose our friends more carefully.
I mean, if you were to give me a list of hits and misses, 10 years of rule of BRS, I'm sure, and let's be honest, no party has done everything right, no party has done everything wrong. Hits and misses with respect to your regime in Telangana, and hits and misses with respect to the BJP's regime at the center. What would your list be?
Well, my father's dream and our dream, BRS's dream for Telangana was KG to PG education to be done. We came up to the level of junior colleges and at some places still degree colleges. We could integrate free education, but to go to the PG level, we just bought in medical college in every district. So that was going to the next PG level. So that integration was to be completed. So one more term, we could have done that. The other one, Palamuru Rangareddy lift irrigation scheme, one more term, we would have finished it. In fact, there is just 5% work left in Palamuru lift irrigation scheme that this government is ignoring from past 15 months. I hope they finish it soon. So that is one other thing I believe we could have done very well. And the other aspect which father was very seriously considering was to help the landless poor. How do we bring in more measures for them to be integrated? How do we make sure they make money? And the communities like weavers, fishermen, etc. Targeted many more schemes were to be bought out. That was, I think, the next thing in the.
Those are the misses you're saying.
Those were the misses, I think. And when you look at BJP having the power they have, or in the last 10 years, this time, of course, they are a coalition NDA government, not a proper BJP government. But in the last 2 terms, when they had the chance to change a lot of things, see, they always criticize the education system in the country. They say, ये अभी तक का ब्रिटिश का मैकाले का सिस्टम चल रहा है, हम उसको बदलेंगे. They did not lift a little finger to do anything about it. And they never allocated any time more than 2.5-3% to education of this nation. They could have brought in more IITs, more IIMs to every state. They could have just increased the number of world class institutions. Modi ji has gone across the globe trying to build partnerships across various nations with our nation. So he could have brought in the prestigious universities to India, benefiting more Indians rather than, Indians traveling abroad, etc. That was not prevented. As a result, we now see a lot of brain drain happening, and we ourselves are letting it happen because there is no world-class education institutes. Less, I mean, not no, less education institutes. Like if you have a DU, the cutoff itself is 100%. How are people supposed to compete to that? So we need more DUs. Yeah, we need more universities of that standard, and that should be
That
there.
100%
in every
cutoff
state.
weeds out entire boards, man. Because certain boards, it's almost impossible to score
Absolutely.
100%.
How are you going to get 100% in certain boards? So, as you rightly said, very stringent correction. You will never get 100%. If I'm a Telugu student, I'll never get 100%. Impossible to get 100%. So that kind of standard universities we should have more. That they missed the chance. I think in the last 10 years, if they would have given more money to education, whatever education that they want to promote, of course, if they would have, accepted this, I think the country would be in a different field. And in terms of creating employment and encouraging small scale industries, I think they really missed the bus. Except the talk of digital India, make in India, where is the result? Today, when you look at the manufacturing sector, in 2014, 17.1% was a contribution of GDP. Today, it's the same 17.1%. So, 10 years of Make in India, Digital India did not make a difference. Now, in 1948, what were we exporting out of our country? Today, my export is less than that. So you have not progressed in terms of making world-class products. You have not even made products to cater to your own people here. We are 100 crore people here. यहाँ के लिए बनता नहीं है. हमें यहाँ quality दूध नहीं मिलता है. We don't get good milk powder here. You have to export it from outside. You don't get a formula for baby here. You have to export it from outside. So we have not made that kind of progress as a nation. When we talk about vaccines that we are exporting outside, why did we export vaccine when we were not able to give vaccine to everybody here in India? Americans got the first lot. Is that a lie? From India, we've sent vaccines to Americans even before we gave it to all our people. So there are certain policies, certain things that we need to really look at. I think BJP has missed.
Any hits at all, according to you?
I think
because there have been congressmen in the past who've come out and appreciated the push for IT and a couple of other aspects. So therefore, I'm asking.
No, see, with BJP, one thing we did, Modi ji's extensive travel. I will call it shallow because there is no actual quantifiable result that came out. But people recognize India wherever. Like he went to a small country like Fiji. He went to many nations that many prime ministers ignored to even go. So the Indians living there feel that, okay, there is a prime minister. But what is the net result? What did our country get as a result of that? Did my trade with European Union increase? Did my trade with America increase? Did my trade with any other nation increase? That is a fundamental question. That has not happened. So imagery has bettered, which I will call it publicity, but there is no quantifiable result.
Got it. Coming to BJP and BRS, ma'am, this isn't the first time. I mean, I'm pretty sure the chief minister was also criticized for the statement he made after your bail. But even in 2018, 2017, there was this huge chatter, narrative about BJP and BRS coming together. People had gone to the extent of saying the deal has already been brokered. There were articles coming out. Even before you came out, there were a lot of articles considering, a prospective merger that was being projected. During the course of your political career, especially post-division and even since 2006, because as they always say, there is no fire without fuel or fuel without fire, right? So do you believe at some point there was some discussion, have the party ever been approached, or is all of this just mere political rhetoric?
Well, see, again, this will certainly affect my case, so I would not like to say much. But unfortunately, many things in this country are political. Unfortunately, and any political talk of an alliance between a BJP and BRS, if at all had happened in my absence or when I was in jail, I'm one person who's fundamentally against BRS tying up with anybody. I believe Telangana should have its own party, its own voice, and a party which is not tainted by any national influence or any other influence. Our party's fundamental interest should be people of Telangana. बाकी सब बाढ़ में जाए, तेलंगाना के लोग अच्छा रहे, वहां से you start and then you expand that to the national level. Then you say anything just for the people. It is not about politics. It is not about religion. It is not about anything. Just the betterment of people. So that is what BRS always stood for. And I'm one of the staunch believers that alliances, pre-poll alliances, can never give real results to people. We have seen, we were a part of Congress alliance in 2004, where Telangana was promised. It did not happen until we actually came, hit the ground, fought for it for 13 years. So many parties, many coalitions come to power, but will they deliver? No. NDA came to power with a lot of promises.
Chandrababu Naidu in AP along with the BJP.
Yes. What are they delivering for AP? Is AP not getting a raw deal in many aspects? People have started to question already. So pre-poll alliances, I don't believe have worked out very well for many, many reasons. Post-poll alliances, I think that is good politics. That should be something that should be looked at. But when you look at the fabric of Telangana, BJP and Telangana's social fabric, I think the DNA, there is a lot of difference. So BRS alliance with BJP was never a factor, and I hope it will never be a factor.
A lot of times, another controversial aspect concerning a family that has come up is the divide within the family. I'd like you to address that as you deem fit. Who's next is always a question, and you've always maintained that Mr. KCR is at the helm of things, and who's next is not even a question that's supposed to be addressed now. But in terms of disagreements, in terms of where you stand in the party, is there any divide at all? Because this makes headlines more than anything else with respect to your party.
See, the opposition understands that the unity in the BRS is our strength, and we have only one leader. So that is our strength, right? Unlike Congress, where they have 100 leaders. So now they want to say that BRS is not different than any other party. BRS is like us. There is infighting. They want to promote it, to take advantage. But there is not much of a truth to it. KCR Garu is the one who's behind all the planning, who is the one who's behind all the strategy. So we just follow his lead blindly, and rest of us just work according to his instructions.
Lastly, personally, I'm not talking about ambitions here, but if ever presented with the opportunity, would you be okay taking up a larger role in the state, maybe the CM seat?
No, every politician wants to move up in the ladder. Yeah, so will I. And let us see what destiny has written for me. I am a very, very hardworking person. I'm a person who always thinks about working for the people. I take my role very seriously. When I was given an MP position, you can check my stats with any other MPs. The kind of debates I participated, the kind of questions I raised in the parliament, the kind of trips that I took, or the work that I've done in the constituency. And when I was given an MLC, the way I work, the way I debate, the way I address the people, I take my role very seriously. And I believe when you sincerely work, you are always destined for bigger things. So it could be anything. I don't know. But I'm very open, as a politician should be. I'm very open.
Where does BRS go from here? How do you see the future? Your brother has recently said after 3 years it's us in power. GHMC elections are around the corner. Is that the first test of fire? Because very ironically, ma'am, or rather paradoxically, however you want to put it, BRS has secured most positions in Telangana, right? But when it comes to certain districts, they fail miserably in terms of political gains. I'm not talking about development here. How do you look at this? Because GHMC, will that be a test of fire first? And secondly, how do you see this progress happening? Because you did lose out on a lot of numbers. The voting percentage wise, the difference may be negligible, but in terms of seat share, quite a drop.
See, BRS and my leader strength is the strategy that we have done in the last 25 years. So when you believe you cannot win a certain election, we've never shied away from staying away from those elections. Or when we don't want to waste our energy on certain elections which don't matter much, we've always stayed away. And people criticize that you are not doing this, you are not doing. We said no. What matters to us is to win the state back. Point one. When they said you're not contesting the MLC election, we said we don't want to. It is our discretion as a political party. We take the decisions accordingly, right? So when it comes to GHMC, when it comes to next local body elections, etc., we will cross the bridge when it comes there. But whatever election we fight with full energy and full power. And I'm sure people now are realizing that BRS was the best when we were there in power. And many people are telling me that at the local level, at the state level, the dignity and the large heartedness of KCR Garu is what people are missing. So I believe we are in for good times and we will probably win every election that comes our way.
One aspect that is always thrown at you by the BJP is nepotism. How do you counter that, or how do you? Is it time that people accept that yes, I might have had a head start because of who I am, or do you believe that never played a role? Because the question they ask you very often is, would you have been an MLC today if you were not KCR's daughter? So how do you respond?
No, I've always been very open. See, when I came to India from US, where I had a decent job, a family settled, etc., I immediately got drawn into the Telangana agitation that was happening. I chose a different route. I did not join the party, but I started my own organization to work for the people. Then, of course, later on, I came into the politics. But it is a matter of fact, if I was not KCR's daughter, nobody would instantly recognize me or say that, Telangana Jagrati, KCR's daughter started. Nobody would have said that. So, my head start is certainly because of my father. There is no doubt about it. So is the head start of many people in this nation, and so is the head start of many people in this entire Southeast Asia. That is our culture. Who is the president of Sri Lanka today? What was his father? Who is the president of Bangladesh today? What was her father? So, Pakistan, you look at our entire Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Philippines, it is all family, families rule. Two things. Till Japan. See, we respect families. And when you are even taking a personal decision as looking for a marriage proposal, you look at the 7 generations of a family, not one.
Yes.
So our culture is like that. So when a decent leader's son or a daughter goes to the people and say, in the name of my father, give me vote, people are more willing to trust this person than a person who's probably does not have a
Known
political
entity.
background. It is unfair, definitely unfair. But that is how in the last 75 years we have carried out our politics. Now BJP says we will change it. Okay. Now what have they changed? In which state they have not picked up the hairs, you tell me. You remove Yediyurappa ji, but who is your president there, BJP right now? Why have you taken Mr. Sindhya ji into your party? Why have you taken so many other people who are from the same family backgrounds? I can give you 20 names in, I don't want to name names, for everything. 2025 people who are from a political family background. Ultimately, BJP carried them, gave seats. So they are not free of the nepotism that they call out all of us. Since we are the regional party, we were the regional party now changed into a national perspective, but we are called out easily because DMK is called out easily or Badals are called out easily because people recognize you. But under the BJP garb, there is still the nepotism that prevails, and BJP is trying to hide them very carefully. But it is not hidden in the era of social media. People understand what it is. I think they'll call it out at the right time.
I'd like to conclude with an issue that is very close to your heart. You fought for it a lot of times, the National Turmeric Board. It was announced in January. Let's have a constructive discussion on this. What do you think should be the 3 month, 6 month goal going forward? What should be the priority, keeping in mind Nizamabad and a lot of farmers in that region? Constructively, what do you think should be the way forward to help the farmers?
See, BRS fundamentally believes any crop that is grown has to be given an MSP. We always had that policy. It could be a commercial crop, it could be a regular crop. You have to give them MSP. So, in that light, when I fought for the turmeric board, when they categorically rejected in the first 5 years of BJP rule in 2014 that we are not going to give a turmeric board, later on, when we fought on the ground, they felt the heat. They had to promise the turmeric board. Now, unfortunately, the turmeric board has to be legislated in the parliament. They did not do that. So they just announced through a gazette. And that is why they're not able to give it any money or any budgetary allocation. They're not able to do it. So you have created a board on the paper, which is not a reality. So that shows the shallowness or the lack of concern of the BJP towards our Telangana turmeric farmers. And that today stands exposed in front of the people. Turmeric prices have been falling. Now, of course, because of the natural markets, now today they have increased. But when the price is on the fall, nobody came. And when the turmeric board was being inaugurated, Mr. Bandi Sanjay himself said there will be a price intervention. We will create a fund where we will be able to give MSP for the farmers, etc. But that all turned out to be lies. So my simple question is, why do you want to lie? You have already won an election. You have won 8 MPs from Telangana. Now it is a time to deliver on your promises. Please legislate the turmeric board again in the parliament. Make sure there is budgetary allocation, and please take care of the turmeric farmers.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving us your time. And secondly, I'd have to say this when I'm ending it. You've taken most questions head on. And thank you for that. You've never asked me to mince my words. And you've taken most questions head on and answered them to the best extent possible. People might agree, people might disagree, but this is definitely an aspect that is noteworthy and should be respected. Thank you so much and wish you all the luck with everything you seek to do in the near future.
Thank you, Akash. Unlike other anchors, thank you for not shouting at me. Thank you for not cutting me in between. And thank you for being patient.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Have a great day.
Thank you.